The real estate business is pulling away from just being such a heavy relationship focused business, and I see it pulling more and more to being a sales focused business. Now, I'm going to talk about a couple of different things. I have three major things that I expect to see happen. I'm going to break those down, and at the end, I'm going to share with you what we are doing here at Onyx Homes, our team, to prepare for these changes and, frankly, the shift that we're seeing in the business. All right, so the first of the three things that I think we're gonna see in this business happen is that agents that only got deals because of the relationship, right? Think of the part-time agent whose family member or best friend buys a property or sells a property, and they get the deal because they were in the closest proximity, they had the relationship, and there was that obligation feeling. I think those agents are gonna really struggle moving forward. That's number one. Number two, big change that we're gonna see in the market is that the buyer process is now going to require a sales pitch. Now, the reason for this is obviously the settlement changes, where buyers are gonna have to get agreements signed, just like listing agents have always had to get listing agreements signed in order to do a deal and sell a house. And I think one of the major reasons why so many agents stay away from listings is because they're not comfortable in the sales environment of a sales pitch that ends in a signed contract. And if all buyer business looks that way, there's gonna be major changes. And number three, this is a major point that I'm gonna go way deeper on, is that the best agents or the good agents and above are gonna be able to charge more than the average agents. And this does a lot on the business side of real estate. All right, so let's dive a little bit deeper into each one. So let's talk first about the relationship agent. And again, at the end of this, I'm gonna break down what we are doing with our company to make sure that we are in the right and the best position to be successful and take advantage of the market. But number one is the relationship agent. So these are the agents, like I mentioned, that are only getting deals because of the relationship. And I'm not saying this isn't a clickbait title, and I'm not saying that relationships don't matter in the real estate business. That's not at all what I'm saying. I'm saying that agents that are only doing deals because of the relationship, that's gonna be dead. Maybe not dead, but it's gonna dramatically hurt those types of agents. So the agent that has their license, they're doing maybe friends and family deals here and there, I think those people are gonna struggle way more than they have been. Here's the reality of why I feel that way which goes kind of into number two, but I think the consumers are just going to continue to require a better experience from their real estate agents. And somebody that is not full-time invested, this is not their living, that person's probably going to have a harder time delivering the same level of service as a professional that's in the business, like obviously myself or an agent on our team, or probably yourself watching this. So that's number one, is the relationship agent. I think they're just going to struggle because the customer's experience has to be elevated, especially with these changes coming to the buy side. There's no more, the buyer doesn't feel like they're paying anything to the relationship agent and they're doing the agent a favor. It's going to be that agent's going to have to charge the money. That just inherently changes that relationship. So that's number one. Now let's move to number two, which is the buyer's sales process, or the buyer's sales pitch, I'll say. This is where the buyer's agents are going to have to give some sort of a sales pitch, even if it's just, hey, if you want to work with me, you have to sign this piece of paper. I hope that's not the sales pitch. But all buyer's agents are going to have to be able, or all real estate agents that work with buyers are going to have to be able to answer the question very clearly. Why should I hire you? And how much do you charge? And all the questions that listing agents have mastered because they have those conversations over and over and over. Again, the topic of this video is that this business is changing from less of relationship and more of a sales-based business. And to be honest, I think we all know that most buyer's agents have no process, no clear way of doing business that they follow every single time. All of the top agents that I know have a very clear process for buyers, for sellers, for every different aspect of the business. And they do that because they have found what works best for them, and they have done the same process over and over and over, and they get better and better and better at it. They're not recreating the wheel every single time. The reason a sales process exists is because simply you've tried things different ways and you've found what works. So once something works, why would you change it? This is something that I see newer agents or struggling agents are constantly trying to reinvent the wheel, to whereas experienced agents and successful agents are following the same process over and over and over. All right, so that was number two, is that the buyer's pitch is going to be required moving forward. And that leads us to number three, which is the gap. Now, the gap between good agents and everybody else is going to get so much wider through this shift. And I'll explain why, both in real estate space, but also just business principles. Good agents are good agents because they win the business more often. right? So if they talk to 10 people versus an average or below average agent talks to 10 people, the good agent's gonna win more often. Now, the other thing is good agents are gonna attract more and more customers and leads and clients. And this is gonna mean that they're going to be able to charge more for their services. So there's 3 different steps here. And frankly, this is why I'm so excited for this change. And again, these are business principles. This is not just real estate, a change to the real estate industry. These are business principles that work in any industry. All right, now step number 1 is that when you're a good agent, you are winning the business more often, which obviously means you're generating more revenue, which means that you are making more off the money that you spend. That's step number 1. Step number 2 is because you are a good agent that wins the business more often, you're also able to charge higher fees. So whereas everybody else or average, below average agents are probably going to have to lower their fees, average and good and above agents are probably going to be able to raise their fees above the average. And when you combine these 2 things, it means that a good agent is going to be able to win the deal more often, and they're gonna make more on those deals because they have a higher fee. Now, that leads us to step number 3, and this is where the business principle really kicks in, is that these agents are going to be able to dramatically outspend their competition in a couple different ways. Number 1 is more marketing and lead generation to feed their business. Right? Obviously, there are good agents, so they are attracting business, but because they have increased revenue, they can do that even more. That's 1. Number 2 is that they are able to increase, because they have more income, they have more revenue, they are able to increase even better their overall service by hiring assistants, hiring marketing people, hiring videographers, hiring inside or in-house transaction coordinators, whatever it might be, to make their consumer experience working with them even better, which doubles down. This creates a flywheel approach where they're already good, they generate more revenue, they win more business more often, and they make their service even better and reinvest so they can dramatically outspend the competition, provide a way better experience for a marginally higher fee. Now, here's a pro tip as well too, is that most agents are not willing to reinvest their income into their business. And that means that most people are not willing to take money today, invest it for more money tomorrow. I have learned this in this business over and over and over, as agents pull 100% of the money out of their business and they do not reinvest it to create something more valuable down the road. Not that there's anything wrong either way. I personally believe in growing the business for the future, which is why we constantly here at Onyx Homes, if you know anything about our company, we are constantly reinvesting to grow, to be better and better and better, both for our clients and for our agents. Anyway, so the opposite side of this is you have agents that are going to be lowering their fees, right? So on this side, you have the good agents, the great agents, the incredible agents that are going to win the business more often, and they're going to be able to charge higher fees, which allows them to spend more money and give a better experience to the customer. Okay, so we just talked about the good agents that are able to win the business more often, make more money on those deals, and then reinvest, creating the flywheel so that they can win more business, charge higher fees, and continue to deliver a way higher customer experience to give value and warrant the higher fees. Now, on the opposite side of that is you're going to see agents who do not win the business more often. They win the business less often, which is going to often cause people to lower their fees, or agents to lower their fees to be more competitive, because the value is just not there. Good agent has much higher value, so they have higher fees. Lower values and it could require lower fees. I mean, that's just business principles, as I've said. Now, most of the time, an agent is not converting leads more often and not delivering a service because they don't follow a sales process. As we talked about earlier, the buyer's sales process, the buyer pitch, is going to have to change, and good agents have been doing this for a very long time. So most of the reason why agents are going to fall on this side is because they do not have a process in place for them to win the business more often, and they're not delivering a good enough service to be able to charge higher fees, meaning that they're going to have to lower their fees so that they can win business. And this frankly has a flywheel in the opposite direction, is you're going to win the business less often, you're going to have to charge lower fees, meaning you're going to make less money, which means you're going to have to find ways to cut costs and make yourself profitable with less money, and you're going to have to do more and more and more volume. Now, I will say, I will not make the argument that this business does not work at scale. Think of Walmart, think of Costco. Now, the problem is, if you go, I'm going to charge lower fees and do 1 million deals, now you have to have a sales process. So here's my point. and this is where I'll tie in what we are doing with our team, is we have two things. We have a very, very, very clear sales process that all of our agents follow. That's number one. Number two is we have a very clear sales framework that allows our agents to win the business more often. So when you marry these sales framework, meaning like the how to say, what to say it, those types of things, and you marry that to the very clear sales process of how to, once you've set an appointment, how to meet more of the clients, how to get them to schedule a buyer's strategy session or a seller's strategy session, and then getting contracts signed. That is your sales process that allows you to deliver a better service, to charge higher fees, and inevitably make more money and grow the business. And I have made these trainings available in our free start to finish in real estate community on the platform school. So there's two major trainings that are already released, and we have one coming up in the next week or so, and it might already be released by the time you're watching this. So in the start to finish community in school, this is totally free, but these trainings are in here. This is the exact same trainings that I have for our agents on our team. And for some case studies here, we have brand new agents to the business that are 6 weeks, 9 weeks into the business that are getting buyer broker agreements signed with their clients. This is something that is proven to work over and over and over. Brand new agents to the business, experienced agents that have not followed a sales process, but we also have agents that have come in that have been successful at this, and they increase conversion and they increase their compensation. So overall, these trainings are all totally free. You can check it out, but you also have access to other real estate agents like yourself in this community. You have access to myself, my marketing manager, my admin staff. So you have a lot of other people who are all looking to level up their business. So if you want to join this, link is going to be somewhere. I'll let you go ahead and find it. But here's the major point that I hope is your takeaway, is that by having a very clear sales process, you can set more appointments, you can win the business more often, and you're going to be able to have a better business rather than scraping and fighting for lower fees, winning less business less often. That is not the business that I want. That is not the business that I want for you. So if you want to check out the community, go for it. I don't care if you take everything we have and you implement it in your business. Send me a screenshot. I'd love to see you crushing with our buyer strategy session, with our sales process, or the closer framework. So my name is Christian. I hope you found this valuable. If you did, like and share it, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.